What's up, everybody? Tanner Larsson here, and welcome back to the Optimized Ecommerce podcast. All right, so we are on the tail end of the Black Friday, Cyber Monday craziness that happens every single year, but this year was a little bit different. This year, all the normal ecom Black Friday, Cyber Monday stuff people have been having to deal with was also impacted by the iOS advertising environment that we're living, post-iOS advertising environment that we're living in, the post-iOS start of the email environment changes that we're living in, and the massive supply chain shortages that are impacting everybody across the board, especially in the people who are importing from China or Indonesia or any of the other countries. So it's going to be a little bit different. What we're going to talk about. We're going to go over what was working, how the landscape has changed, and what you need to be aware of. To help me do that, I've got Jeremy Friedland on here, another longtime BGS team member and customer and friend, repping the shirt, all of that. So Jeremy, thanks for being here, and let's just dive in. Let's talk some Black Friday, Cyber Monday stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So so Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I did a post in Ecom Insiders, just asked people how they were doing. How was your Black Friday, Cyber Monday? Was it better or worse than you expected? What are some hiccups that you experienced? Kind of what's the landscape out there for your Black Friday, Cyber Monday? And there was a ton of mixed reviews. Slight caveat, I'm starting to lose my voice here, so if it cracks a little bit, I'm not going through puberty again. My voice is gone. So we've been saying this for a long time that traffic is not your problem, right? At least the way that most people are used to getting it. That has changed significantly over the last year and a half or so, when Facebook has iOS has rolled out their iOS 14 update and the iOS 15 update for the email side of it. So basically being able to track where your sales are coming from are out the window. And a lot of people don't really understand the concept of well, it's okay because I have an app like Wicked Reports or Highrose or something like that can track my sales. So it's no big deal. I'll just track where my sales are coming from with those tools. Well, that's all great and good. Where your sales are coming from, but that information is not getting fed back into Facebook.
Exactly.
And that's, I think, what a lot of people are not understanding is you may be able to track your sales from your end, but Facebook isn't getting that information. And Facebook is the one that's optimizing your ad for the conversion event. Mm-hmm. So whether you have it set up for add to cart or, added credit card information or hopefully purchase conversion event, Facebook most of the time has no idea what's happening. And so what they're doing is, a lot of times we say the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule is, a great one to follow. But in this case, it is not a great one to follow because Facebook is getting 20% of the information and trying to optimize the other 80% of people they're sending your ads to with your money, with that small piece of information. And they can't do it, which is why you're seeing CPMs go up, which is why you're seeing, ROAS go down. Everything that you want to be good is bad.
So on that, just to dig into a little bit more, guys, think about this. What Jeremy said is 100% accurate. You're using Highrose. It's telling you this ad campaign is generating sales. And on Facebook, it's telling you it's a loss, you're losing money, but on Highrose, it's telling you that it's a win, right? Cool. So you're going to say, I'm going to keep running that campaign. The thing is if you keep running that campaign on Facebook, Facebook still doesn't have the right data. It doesn't have all that data that Highrose has. So your cost, your CPMs, your performance of that ad campaign are going to continue to get worse because they're optimizing off the bad data because they're thinking that it's not a good campaign, but you're still running it. So your CPMs aren't going to go down. Your targeting is not going to get better, but Highrose is going to keep reporting those sales. So maybe right now your ROAS is still acceptable based on the Highrose data or the Wicked Reports data and your ad spend. But let's say your ad spend stays the same, your sales numbers stay about the same, but then your metrics start changing in terms of your CPMs and your clicks and your costs and things like that. All of a sudden, you're still getting the sales, but now your profit, your ROAS is starting to drop because Facebook has no idea what to do. And this is the world that we live in right now, and it affects everybody. So you can't just say, oh, well, I've got Wicked Reports, I've got Highrose, and I'm okay, because you're not. And I'm saying that tongue in cheek because we have to leverage Highrose and Wicked Reports too. We're in the same boat.
Yep.
And it's the best of what we have out there, but you can't think that it's the savior of your business and it's going to make ads go back to normal because it has no impact on your ROAS or your actual CPMs and metrics that Facebook is delivering to you.
100%. Yeah. I think that's what people aren't understanding.
I agree, because I hear it all the time. They're like, oh, I've got Highrose, I'm good. I'm like, no.
Yeah. Yeah. There hasn't been a software yet that feeds back into Facebook or
the closest
TikTok
thing we've got is the conversion API that Shopify kind of pushes back into Facebook, but even that is limited.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And sometimes it double reports and sometimes it's just inaccurate. So, so with that being said, what do you do? Right. Well, you can just keep on sending people to your website and hopefully that they start a checkout, and you can hopefully get a abandoned cart opportunity there. But if you think about it, if you send 100 people to your site and your conversion rate's, 2% or 3%, then your add to cart rate or your checkout rate, initiate checkout rate's probably what, 7%? So let's say you're spending $100 to get people to your, $1 per click. So you send 100 people to your site, it costs you $100. 7 of those people initiated checkout. So you get 7 emails out of $100 spent. It's a pretty expensive cost per lead.
Yes.
Right. So the objective should really be the two things that I saw working. This is actually, I'm stealing this or borrowing this from a post that our friend David Schloss did.
It was a good post.
He has a bunch of e-com clients. He's been in the business a long time. And that post had a lot of feedback as well from other people that have experienced it. So the number one thing he saw working best was SMS and email. Those are where the biggest sales came from. And if you're not doing SMS, my goodness, you are missing out on a huge opportunity there. ROAS, ROI like crazy for SMS marketing, which means you have to build a list, right? So there's a lot of different ways that you can build a list. I use giveaways. You can use an opt-in. You can do a free plus shipping. You can do a free report. I mean, what are some other ways, Tanner, you can think of that people can start building a list?
I mean, doing like everything you just said for one, but other pieces of that could just be doing an awareness campaign and then doing like it's opt-in for content type of thing. The whole squeeze page thing that we used to use, that is working again. It's kind of funny. Things come full circle. So what we used to do is the squeeze page world where we'd all get opt-ins in exchange for a free report or whatever. People are doing that again because they stopped doing it and nothing else is working. But having a good piece of content, a good piece of educational content, or even something that's working really well is what we call wizards. But a similar thing would be a quiz where they opt in for the wizard that actually helps guide them through what product or what opportunity is right for them. And they're giving their email in exchange for that to get a customized PDF report. We have a shoe company that we're friends with that is doing that right now. They're switched all their ads to helping runners figure out what type of insole and shoe they need based on the quiz questions that they offer. And then they generate a PDF report for that person, which is completely customized based on their answers. Yeah. And it's a software that does this. And then they get that report. And then obviously in the report, they talk about, here's all the things you need to do, or here's the things you need for your foot. And then they suggest some of their options that they have. And if they don't have it, they actually have an affiliate relationship with another company that does have the option. Right. So that's how they're doing their advertising now, because they realize that they can't drive traffic on a sale effectively. So they're just trying to get the lead, spending more money to buy the lead, because at least that way they have a captive way of marketing to that person. Yep.
Exactly. And so that's a great example. Wizards, people want to feel like they are having a custom answer. Like when you click on the things that say, what's your personality score? What's your, what's your Zelda character or something like that. Like everyone wants a custom response, and those things convert like crazy. And it's a lot cheaper to lead than sending people directly to your site. And then the other thing is that you can customize the response, right? So now you're gathering data from your client, so you can compare that against the people that are actually buying and say, okay, the people that are answering the questions this way are my buyers. The people that are answering the questions this other way are not my buyers. So it gives you a better opportunity to really hone in on your list and dial that acquisition in. So that's a great way. So SMS, email. So number one lesson.
We know, like, yes, we used to say never use push notifications because they were always a distraction. Now, a lot of our partner stores are leveraging push notifications as yet just another way to try to capture that traffic because traffic costs are going so high. They're trying to recapture that. So push notifications are great if you're using push notification marketing, but doing the push notification and then not actually following up through the push isn't worth your time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's, so SMS, number one, SMS and email. So build your list. That's the lesson there. Build your list the best way you know how, and nurture that list throughout the year. It's the old way is the new way, right?
Yeah. And the truth is, like, through this Black Friday, I mean, we've been obviously seeing our own partner stores and our clients and what's happening there. But also in our EI group and things like that. Used to be, you could really neck and neck your ad spend sales from new customers to your email. And, they kind of been about even. This year, what we're seeing predominantly is 3 to 4x on the email side compared to the ad spend side. And most people's ad spend, I know you're going to talk about this, but most people's ad spend was at break even or even a slight loss on their Black Friday, because the huge discounts, the high ad costs, the scale doesn't work out that well. Now, that's not to say people didn't have great Black Fridays. Jeremy and I were talking about or actually it wasn't Jeremy and I, it was Mark Shalinsky and I on a call before. We're talking about one of our other clients is in the car care industry, amazing client. They still did about a $500,000 Black Friday and Cyber Monday. But the crazy thing isn't the number there. The crazy thing is when you break down their numbers and look at where their spend came from and where their sales came from. One of the numbers that we like to look at is, revenue or value per session, per unique session, right? So per unique visitor. And they're on their ad side, their value per visitor was around, or per session was around $3, $3.06. But their value per email was $6.88.
Wow.
Okay. Or not value per email, sorry, value per session from sales generated via email. Right.
Yeah.
And so 688. And then if you add up all emails, including the pre-email, because they used our Black Friday campaign from Ecom Insider. If you add all of that stuff, they're up in the $13 range.
Wow.
So there's a huge discrepancy there. Now, of course, it's owned traffic. But the other thing is we're already suffering from the iOS 15 issues that are just starting to take effect. And it's still that good.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they did really, really well during this Black Friday was engagement. They actually got people to reply to an email, because since we don't get open rate data as well anymore, we're not getting click rate data as well. The next thing we can get to boost deliverability and everything is getting them to respond to an email. So even a Black Friday email that's saying, hey, go buy this, there was still a trigger in there to get them to respond and reply to the support desk with a generic answer or whatever.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting to look into and see how you can do that, because most people just look at an email, click a button and go buy or whatever. But if you can get a response from it, that's
There's
great.
someone, I can't remember who it was, it might have been Kevin, one of our ecom insiders did something like that, where they basically ran this crazy promo, but to get the promo code, you had to reply.
Oh.
The reply email was an autoresponder. So they would reply, and then as soon as just the act of replying would trigger the auto response that would say, hey, here's your discount code.
Sweet.
And it made them did really, really well, obviously, because it got, number one, their deliverability was insane because everybody's engaging and clearly showing the ISPs that they want that email.
Yeah.
And then, and they're getting the reaction on the back. And then, originally we kind of thought we haven't had to do that because that's kind of clunky and you're at making the person take more steps, which is never the best thing.
Right. Yeah.
But we're in a new world right now where we don't have a choice.
Yeah.
So what else can we do? So how creative can we get to do that? So, that's another angle that works pretty well.
Yeah. And that's great because it's going to increase your future deliverability as well.
Yeah.
So that's a great strategy.
Email marketing podcast the other day. I can't remember whose it was. I'm blanking on names today for some reason. But they were mentioning that you can same day impact deliverability. Like the things you do and have done in day one can impact the very next day or later that same day's deliverability. It's not I always thought it was a delayed gratification kind of thing, but they were talking about, when you get your own emails, make sure you open your emails. Don't delete your own emails, open your emails, click through your emails. And then obviously also reply if at all possible. And even if you don't need to reply, replying to your own emails and having your team reply to your own marketing emails will help as well. And a very small percentage of that is required to give yourself a little bit of a boost. So doing that, and then, like this campaign that we were just talking about, they were started on like the 13th was their pre-sale, and they started doing that reply to get the discounts, and their deliverability was better every single day.
Dang, that's a great idea. I love it, man. I got a bunch of value from this call already. That's awesome. So let's move on to the next strategy that worked really well. Which is, it's funny because we're talking about the strategies that nobody wants to do, right? Yeah. But it goes into this. It goes the lower down the line, and it goes into strategies that people are doing. So anyway, the next strategy is the next biggest win was search marketing. So SEO. SEO. Everyone hates it.
Both Jeremy and I used to do SEO, right? We both used to do SEO for local clients and other stuff back in the day. Yeah. Now it's coming full circle again. Yeah,
people hate it, but it really is the biggest win, because while it might take 90 to 120 days to start kicking in, it doesn't cost that much to do. If you compare it to how much ad spend you're spending, like if you go get an agency to do it for, $1,000 or $2,000 a month, especially if you have a lower competition niche, over the course of 3 months, 4 months, you can start ranking for some pretty good keywords, and then just continue on with that. And the more organic traffic you can get has huge benefits, right? So if you're getting organic traffic and sales, those are sales that are coming without you spending any additional money.
Yep.
So that's not only beneficial to your bottom line, but you should always have the end in mind, right? Most people should be thinking about selling their store. Like, unless you want to keep your business forever and ever and ever, and it means a lot to you, fine, do that. But you really should be thinking about selling your store. And you're going to get a way higher valuation for your store if you're getting organic traffic than if all your sales are coming from paid traffic.
Yep.
That's just the way it is. But also, while you have the store, it's just going to continue to grow and grow and grow and grow your organic traffic. And that's free sales, you guys.
Yep.
So,
guys, SEO, people are like, oh man, I sell stuff that SEO doesn't make sense to me. It's not true. We have apparel brands that do great SEO. I've got a friend who has another podcast, and he owns a luggage store. You want to think who can write about luggage, like carry-on luggage? And guess what? 80% of his traffic comes from SEO. We did a podcast episode not too long ago about it, but it can be used on anything. I mean, again, like apparel stores. But if you have an interesting product, like we have a EI member who has a type 2 diabetes product, great content. Okay, easy to write about. Also, a lot of these products that you consider boring or whatever else, or you don't have anything to say, there's lots of long tail keywords that are not being utilized really in search that you could easily rank for. We're not saying like if you sell sweatshirts, you're going to rank for sweatshirts. Like,
right.
That's not realistic SEO. Okay. But if you sell Second Amendment sweatshirts, that's a different story.
Yeah. Yeah. Brad did an example last night on our coaching call that said, if you're searching for a Star Trek red shirt sweater or hoodie or something like that, I mean, not a whole lot of people are doing Star Trek red shirt hoodie or whatever. That's a long tail keyword that you can get easily ranked probably within a couple of days, to be honest.
And it may not have a lot of traffic, but that's not the point. The point is that's buyer traffic. That's intent traffic. Like people go to Amazon, they type in what they want, they're going there to buy. Those kind of keywords are typically buyer keywords as well. So, it's a thing of many small streams make a river versus just the river.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. And that's the greatest thing about what you said about intent, is that almost all search traffic is intent traffic. Because there's some that's research, like I'll look up what's Mike Tyson's net worth? I'm not looking to buy Mike Tyson a present or anything, but I'll do searches like that. But if I'm searching for something specific, that is intent. Your intent is to buy. Whereas with social media, your intent, you don't go onto social media to buy. That's not your intention. You're going on there to, troll somebody or whatever. You just happen to see an ad. So it's way, way higher buyer intent for that. The second one was actually organic social media traffic. So if you build up your social media page, you're active on there, people are active, the engagement's good on that, you're posting on that page, you're going live, stuff like that. Those are big wins as well. So building up, again, it's like putting in the work, right? So build up your social channels. I know people that have $1 million stores that have like 500 people on their brand page. It's like, what in the world? Like, get people to your brand page.
And brand page, but also the down. So Jeremy and I both also got to experience the Facebook fan page days when you could actually get massive organic traffic from a fan page, right? I mean, I used to I had 3 big gun pages, second man pages. I could generate 400,000 unique clicks a month organically off those pages just from posting. We don't get that anymore. So people have basically stopped using it, but that doesn't mean it still doesn't get reach. However, currently the bigger win is Facebook groups.
Yep.
Okay. Building up a group in a great thing is building it up in your niche in general, and then you can sell them all kinds of stuff, but also it could be product specific. Example, we have a amplified client, one I can actually talk about because they're public, Grace and Lace, they a Shark Tank brand, right? They're a women's clothing company. They have a massive, massive repeat customer rate. And 90% of that repeat customer base comes from their Facebook group. And you go in that Facebook group, it is rabid fans posting like how the clothes changed their life, like emotional stories, and they're engaging in there. And it's this massive buyers group. And people add their friends to it, and the group grows organically. And it allows, Grace and Lace to do an easy 8 figures a year just off repeat traffic, not counting cold sales. Okay. Now, another brand, there's a brand here, actually locally, I met him at a Cars and Coffee. We were sitting there talking cars, and which I like to do. So I was talking to him, and he came over and he's like, "Oh, what's BGS?" And I'm like, "Oh," because it was on my license plate. And he's like, "Oh," I was like, "Oh, it's a e-commerce optimization company." He's like, "Really? I have an e-commerce store. I don't know what I'm doing." And I'm like, "Oh yeah?" Well, we start talking, and he doesn't know what he's doing, but he's generating $1.5 million a month selling eyelash extensions and stuff like that. And I'm like, "How much media are you running?" He's like, "What is media?" I'm like, ads, like advertising, marketing dollars, like spending Facebook ads. And he's like, "I don't know how to do that." I'm like, "What are you doing? Like, are you actually selling lashes, or are you dealing drugs? Like, how are you doing $1.5 million a month on a Shopify basic store? Didn't even upgrade the store."
Oh Lord.
And I'm like, "Oh my God." And anyway, he tells me, he goes, "Well, we have a Facebook group and it's full of people who want lash extensions, want to learn lash extensions, either sell, like have their own store, like their own office things, or whatever you call it, cosmetologist people or whatever."
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "But that group is only about 40,000 people, but it's generating $1.5 million a month for him." And I saw him again at another Cars and Coffee about 2 weeks ago, right before I sold the McLaren. So maybe it was 4 weeks ago. And that was about a year since I'd seen him. And he's still doing those kind of numbers from the group, still not running ads, but he knows what ads are now. Actually, he's now a wrap client. And so he's having us go through and optimize his store.
Sweet.
So we can, because I'm like, "Dude, you're just, oh my God, let me help you, please."
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a perfect example. Doesn't even run paid ads, just nurtures a Facebook group that grows organically. And it's not specific to his brand. It's not his brand name group.
Yeah.
Like the Grace and Lace one is. It's actually just a lash extensions aficionado group, like people who like lash extensions or work in the lash extension place, whatever, right? So, and why group specifically? Well, because when you have a group and you make a post in the group, you get reach. People see it. You make a post on your Facebook page,
nobody.
They don't really see it.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is why, it's funny to see people, you mentioned back in the good old days when you could get 400,000 clicks to your page. You could have 30,000 people, 30, 40,000 people, 100,000 people on your page and make a post, and only you get 5 comments. Yeah. Like, what in the world is happening here? So it doesn't make any sense. So yeah, groups are a great way. And to Tanner's point, it doesn't have to be your brand group. It can be a niche focused group, like a Second Amendment group, or, a faith-based group, or whatever. So yeah, get creative. And the other thing you said to me that you didn't say it directly, but indirectly, the eyelashes, is continuity. Tanner's been saying this since the very first BGS Live in 2014. Continuity. Figure out a way to get continuity into your business so that you don't have to continue to make a new sale to pay the bills. Yep.
It's just more and more critical every day. And that baseline cash flow that the continuity or subscriptions gives you allows you to start every month with a little bit of money versus starting over every single month, waiting for sales.
And the other benefit to it is that you can, when you know that you have money coming in and you know how much net profit on, yes, there's going to be churn, whatever. But it's fairly minimal month to month. So minus your churn, if you know how much net money you're going to have every month, you can make plans, right? You can forecast into other things, add new products, whatever you want to do. One of our Ecom Insider members, who I'm talking about with the morning supplement.
You can say he's been on the podcast, Chucky.
Oh, Chucky, yeah. So
yeah, Chucky's the guy with Early to Rise. We did a podcast with him not too long ago. You guys can check that out.
Yeah, he's doing a phenomenal job across the board of branding, messaging, creatives, launching new products, using his customers to launch new products. He's doing a great job of that kind of stuff.
And take something that was basically a one product store, and now he's got a morning, noon, and night type product. So he's got 3 different products for it. He's got flavor drops. He's got all kinds of things that he's taken something that people would be like, oh, well, you're kind of pigeonholed into one thing. And now he's made it appeal to a lot more people, and getting his exact same customers to have multiple levels of subscription with him for multiple products. I mean, it's hard enough to get one customer on one subscription, but now he's got them on a morning subscription and he's got them on a night subscription.
Yep.
And pretty soon
he'll have a 10-figure store in no time.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So
and he's doing the marketing right. He's crushing SMS. But it's not because he's not a wizard at ads. They're good, but they're not great at ads. They're good at all the other things that nobody else wants to do. And again, I want to just say, I love Chucky to death, but he didn't start out as a rock star. He literally just was like, okay, we're going to figure this out. He joined Ecom Insider and he literally does everything. And he's like, oh, that's cool. Let's try that. Oh, it didn't work. Cool. Let's try it a different way. And he's just constantly testing
every day.
But he's realizing, and he and his entire company is focused around, hey, we need to treat and nurture our captive traffic because we can't rely on external traffic all the time.
Yeah. And he's willing to try everything. I mean, for God's sake, he did an Island Boys promotion.
He did. He paid those goobery tattooed weirdos to do Island Boy to promote his Early to Rise stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know how it backed out, but he's like, he'll try it.
He will try anything. So there was a lot of bad responses. People were like, for that sole reason, I'm not going to buy from you. But you can't win everybody. You can't win everybody. So, but you got to try. So yeah, that's great. So just to touch on it real quick, because Tanner already touched on it, but pretty much people that just solely relied on Facebook ads and Instagram ads or advertising in general to cold traffic either broke even or went negative with that campaign.
Terrible Black Friday for the most part.
Yeah. And according to what David was saying, hundreds of ad sets. So not just like, hey, I ran an ad for Black Friday. Literally, they're running hundreds of ads to try to get one of them or some of them to perform. So 90-10 split there, 10% working, 90% not working was a loss. So the other cool thing, which isn't surprising to me, was people that had Facebook and Instagram shops that went live, that did Facebook Lives. Tanner knows how much I love Facebook Live for sales. So Facebook Lives with your Instagram shop, they killed it with that strategy. So there's a couple different ways you can do that. You can use Facebook Shops or Instagram Shops, but you can also do, there's an app called Comment Sold that does a really great job of integrating with your Facebook Lives and your Shopify store. I think it does WooCommerce and stuff like that as well, but other integrations. But Comment Sold's a great strategy for doing that as well, going live. I know of there's a faith-based apparel store that goes live like 3 to 4 times a week. That's their main strategy for sales, is they just go live. And so that's a huge way. And they actually combining SMS, email, and message marketing with the lives. So letting people know, hey, we're going live in 5 minutes. The only way you can get this promotion is to be on the live. Combining those two things crushed it for them. So building up those lists again, and then using those lists to get people to your live events. And then of course, creating a lookalike audience or just an audience in general for people that view the live. So using that, because those are people that show up and buy. you know, time after time, those are people that show up and buy. So you can use that audience to create a new Facebook audience to, you know, to market to and stuff like that. So, so those are basically the biggest wins. Let me check and make sure I'm not missing one.
Yep. One, while he's looking, guys, the other thing is, you know, a lot of people are jumping on the TikTok bandwagon right now. And there's all these TikTok agencies that are popping up. Most of them are a joke. There's a couple that are good. And in fact, actually one of the few agencies for TikTok that's actually good and knows what they're doing, they'll be speaking at BGS Live in January. So he's going to be spilling the beans on how they do it for our audience up in Dallas. If you're not, guys, if you're not going to BGS Live yet, come on. Like every problem we're talking about here, you're facing and you're dealing with, BGS Live is where that's going to get solved. It's literally where all the best and brightest ad buyers, email marketers, e-commerce people, everybody is coming together for the sole purpose of getting the collective genius in one room to be able to work through and solve this problem. Okay. Because Jeremy and I talked about this last week. E-commerce is headed for the roughest time it's ever had in the history of e-commerce. Okay. Since e-commerce, and I've been in this e-com space for 20 years. For 20 years, e-commerce has been doing this, just getting better and better with very few dips, hardly any dips. Now we're hitting a huge cliffhanger dip with this advertising, supply chain, iOS, all this stuff. And the market doesn't know how to recover. They don't know what to do. The industry doesn't. It's going to be the people who band together and figure it out together that are going to rise and going to succeed. That's what BGS Live is about this year. So make sure you get your ticket and join us there. It's January 10th, 11th, and 12th in Dallas. So it's easy to get to no matter where you're at. Even international, easy to get to. And it's buildgrowscalelive.com. And you can get a cheap ticket right now. So it's the best thing in the world. We're keeping ticket costs way low this year because we know people need to get there and we want everybody there to be able to be a part of it. So all this, oh shit, or whatever, like, yeah, it's happening. It's going to affect you. It's honestly going to get worse.
Yeah.
So we've got to take advantage of what we can and and everybody work together to solve it, because we're going to get through it, but we're not going to get through it alone.
And honestly, the amount of opportunity. So for the people that are willing to do the work, right? People that are willing to do the work, like the Chuckies out there that are willing to do the work, there's huge opportunity because like Tanner said, there's going to be e-com stores going out of business like crazy. And if you're willing to do the work, you can turn those things around and make a huge profit because people are going to be dumping them. They're going to be like, I can't even do this anymore. I'm just losing money every month. I just want out. So if you want it, I mean, you might get 3 opportunities out there.
Whether it's buying them, merging with them, or when they drop out and they leave a hole in the marketplace.
Yep.
Like you're going to, if you can survive, and the only way you're going to survive is number one, you have deep pockets, or 2, you get smart and you work with people like us and the other people that we're bringing in, because guys, we suffer too, but we're determined to solve the problem and fix it. That's why, and we have a reach to bring in all the right people to have everybody like a think tank. And we're going to do that at the event. That's what we're doing. But those are the only 2 ways you're going to get past it. Otherwise, like Jeremy said, you're going to see it anyway. You're going to see droves of e-commerce businesses folding up and closing shop over the next 8 months.
Yep.
And I mean, it's a prediction, of course. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. I'm about 99.999% sure that I will not be wrong.
Yeah.
And so
just the stuff that we know to optimize stores, and I mean, I could do a random search and pick out an e-com store that I could fix in, a month.
Yep.
And so I just got my checkbook just hanging out.
Just wait.
You don't have to hire a new team. You just gotta.
Yeah, it's gonna be fire sales.
Yeah. So and then BGS Live, I want to plug it too because I believe in it so much. I've gone to everyone since the start, and he
went before he was even part of BGS. By the way,
oh yeah, before I was even part of BGS. I've been with Tanner, followed Tanner forever, and I will say that there's something unique about the people that come to the BGS Live event, where they are so willing to share what is working without any expectation of anything in return. Everyone there just wants people to win. And I mean, the majority of people, sure, there's always going to be a couple people that will, try to sell you this or sell you that on the side or whatever. But for the most part, there's just something about the BGS people that come to that event that they are just willing to share and learn and you can learn so much, especially if you have a struggling business. You need to show up. I don't care what you have to do. If you have to go do DoorDash for 3 months or no, we don't have 3 months, DoorDash for a month.
Couple days. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're about a month out.
Yeah. Just get there, get to the event. It will change your business for sure.
So last plug, guys, buildgrowscalelive.com. Be there January 10th, 11th, and 12th in Dallas, Texas. All right. Now, before I started that tangent, I was going to tell you one other thing on the ad front after TikTok that is still working, and that is Google Shopping.
Yes.
Okay? Google Shopping is very effective because it's literally a product feed. It's not the same as your normal search traffic and or search ads and things like that. The problem with Google Shopping is it's a finite resource. You can't scale it. There's only so much traffic or so much opportunity there, but you should definitely be leveraging it and spending some time optimizing it, because it is one little traffic channel, but I would consider that a trickle. It's never going to be anything more than a trickle, but it's really, really profitable.
Yep, for sure. 100%. And retargeting, of course, assuming you can get your pixel to fire.
Yeah. Yep. And third-party retargeting networks are still working, guys. Like it used to be a Perfect Audience. Now it's called SharpSpring, Site Scout, AdRoll. Those third-party networks are still effective. They still reach a different audience than you would reach through Facebook and Instagram retargeting. Plus, they allow for banner, and they've got some great mobile ad environments, and even some direct TV placement type stuff. There's a lot of really good ones out there, worth testing. Okay, you might as well be building the audience. I mean, this is something that and Jeremy knows because I used to teach it. But was this sequential and multi-dynamic retargeting where you have 5 or 6 different retargeting pixels on every single page for different platforms that just make it so you literally show up everywhere, and then you run sequential campaigns through those different pixels. And I mean, I started teaching that in 2015 or something like that, but most people don't do it still, and it still works incredibly well.
Because it's work.
Yeah, it is work. It does take effort.
On the front end.
Yes, but once it's set up, it's pretty easy, but it's a pain in the ass to set up, and it looks daunting when you look at the flow chart of it.
Yeah.
Well, anything else on your list?
I think that's it. Just the retargeting dynamic branded search obviously really works. That's always worked really well. So if people are searching for your brand, obviously they're going to find your brand and do that. So, but yeah, other than that, just put in the work and get ready. The best time to really start preparing for your next Black Friday is today. So fresh. Yep. Just get all your work in now. And imagine if you start doing the work in now, you could really, all the stuff that we talked about, you could get done and set up, in 2 weeks, and get it building now so that you have all those things, all that data and all those lists ready to promote for all the other holiday sales going on.
And the other piece, two final thoughts, and then we'll wrap this up, because I don't want this to go too long for you guys. I want you to actually listen to it and not click out of it. So number one is it's December 1st as the day I'm recording this, right? So that means you've got 15 days of promotion time left realistically before your cutoff day for Christmas shipping. And it's earlier this year because the postal mail stuff is just garbage right now too. Yeah. So you're going to have your cutoff a little bit earlier, but this is your last little hoorah before Christmas. Okay. And number two, post Christmas, that's New Year's and January. Most e-com stores go through a heavy slump in the first quarter of the year. Okay. Unless you're like a Valentine's store and you kick ass in February or something like that. But most stores, the more traditional niche stores, are going to suffer. You don't have to suffer if you're planning it out in advance and you're figuring out what you can do. Okay. So, how do you make sure that 2022, that's so weird, 2022 is better than your probably fairly shitty 2021? And that's not going to be by doing the same thing you did in 21.
Yep.
So ending on that depressing note, thank you guys for listening. It was a great show. I enjoyed it. Jeremy, thanks so much for being here. Yeah. Guys, right now, I need you to make sure you are subscribed. Whatever, if it's on audio, then Stitcher or iTunes or Spotify or whatever, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're also subscribed to the YouTube channel because it's a video podcast as well. And then to get show notes and all the other things you need, go to buildgrowscale.com/podcast. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next episode.